Hello, folks. This is Carla from Rayhan's World of Connections, and today I am interviewing Naeem Subani, and we're going to get to know him. He is a safety and quality control expert. We'll explain that in a moment. Like always, this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Naeem, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for inviting for the interview and giving me the opportunity to express my expertise and my passion on your platform. I'm a Pakistani national, and by education, I'm an engineer, and I'm in the safety and quality profession, as you said, already introduced me. And With that background, I have a number of certifications from UK and USA.
Okay, where in Pakistan?
The federal capital, Islamabad.
Okay, and you grew up there too?
Exactly. My whole schooling, my college, my university, my job, almost most of my career, my life spent in Islamabad.
Okay. So, how did you get so interested in safety and quality control?
Well, I started my career with the oil industry. I have worked more than 30 years in oil industry, and in my early days, that was the time when safety was being introduced in the industry. There were a few accidents that happened, and the companies were very serious about the safety. I was working with the American company Occidental at the time, so they were very serious about safety issues. So that was my starting point where I learned safety. And then when I went to other company, they were very happy about my performance and my interest in safety. So they offered me to head the department of safety. So that was my start of safety career that happened back in 1997. So it's 25 years plus I'm in safety and quality profession. Worked in mostly in oil industry, in Pakistan, with the multinationals, with national companies, overseas also, in Saudi. So presently I'm working with the Kuwait Petroleum subsidiary Cupec, so with my background, with my strengths, I'm delivering to the company. Uh, in addition, because it became my passion and I wanted to work for the humanity. So I joined the American Society of Safety Professionals back in 2006. And I started working for the promotion of safety profession in Pakistan. 5 years back, we started the Pakistan chapter of American Society. If we compare our society with the advanced world, there are a lot of gaps and there are a lot of work to be done to develop safety culture in the country. The legislation is the basic, which is very, very lacking, and we are working to improve the legislation. We are supporting, giving the professional support to the government of Pakistan and different organizations. We are linked up with the ILO, with the World Bank, with the other organizations which are promoting safety, working for the sustainable development goals. The goal 8 asks about the workers and the health and safety. So we are focusing on that as well. The society works in two areas, which is education and advocacy. So with education, we are trying to promote safety subject in different areas, starting from education sector and then engaging different society areas. Then if we talk of advocacy, we have held number of conferences and seminars in the country, in different cities, engaging the government of Pakistan, high officials, the NGOs, academia, and professionals, the industry. So we are trying to engage all the stakeholders. Foresee, we anticipate that with the industrial growth, this subject will be in the limelight, and preparing for that, the legislation, the standards making, the education in the universities. You can imagine that in Pakistan, this subject is not being taught at university level even. We are trying to convince the universities and the institutions to introduce this subject, not only at the university level but school level as well. Because unless we teach the students, unless we teach the kids, it's very difficult to change the culture. So changing the culture means addressing all the society. There is another initiative which is WISE. WISE is Women in Safety Excellence. So 50% of the population can contribute. So women also being engaged. We held few seminars on women's safety engagement also, and that was welcomed, and people appreciated our efforts. So these are different areas where we are trying to contribute, and it is being accepted at levels. Recently, we have a MOU signed with the Pakistan Engineering Council, which is highest level forum for the engineering profession. This is government organization. They have invited us to work with them, and we are trying to set up a center of excellence, which never happened in the Pakistan history. So this is another achievement which we are able to achieve, where we can contribute for the national development and for the sustainable development, sustainable growth of the country. So these are the areas which we are focusing, and we hope with our passion, with our dedication, we can make the difference.
Now, I want to go back a few years to get an understanding. You said you've been passionate about safety. When did that, do you remember what made you decide, I want to learn more about safety and make people safe? Were you in an airline? There's all types of safety. What type of safety are you working with at this point in time? And have you worked with?
Yeah, having said that, when I joined a national company, they offered me the safety position, which was because of my more understanding about the safety, having experience working with the Occidental. I was quite familiar with the safety subject. So I used to raise the concerns about safety in the meetings, management meetings. So they asked me, the chief executive of the company invited, and he asked me to join safety department and head that. So that was the turning point. When I joined the department, that was the time when I started thinking that if I am working in an area which is very good to grow, as well as I learned that if you make something your passion, so your job becomes your a noble cause. So that was the turning point when I started working for safety for the people, and that became my passion. And with the joining of American Society of Safety Professionals, that became my life mission and life passion. So it's my commitment for the lifetime that I have to work in this area. So that's my commitment.
Let me try again. I don't think I asked my question clearly. Was there something in your childhood that happened that made you interested in making sure that you and others were safe?
I don't remember exactly what made me think in this direction, but I could say that it was accidentally my entrance in this profession was not my choice, but my management, actually the company management, asked me to join this profession, and then I opted and made my passion as well. There was no
Okay.
in my personal life.
Are you working, what kind of safety are you working for? Are you working for airline safety? Are you working for building construction safety?
Well, as I said, I'm in the oil industry. So oil industry is a high risk industry.
Right.
Safety is as a high priority, and it goes with the operations. So I'm working not only in drilling area, construction also part of that. The operational safety is also the process safety also. So this is a combination, and we in general we call it HSE management system, health safety and environment management system. When we talk of management system, all industries have the similar kind of system. The only difference is risks differ from industry to industry, but overall system remains the same.
So when you're talking about the oil industry, are you talking about oil for cars? What kind of products are you talking about?
Well, I'm in the oil exploration industry, where we actually drill wells, we produce oil and gas products, we sell them to the in bulk to the distribution companies, to the refineries. So we are not actually selling products, rather we sell in bulk to the major customers. They further sell. So there are three levels. The first middle level, and I'm forgetting. Okay, so there are three levels. First is exploration, second is the refining, and third one is distribution. So these are three areas. We call it upstream, midstream, and downstream. Yes, got the word. Upstream, midstream, and downstream.
Now, do you work with all three areas, or do you work with one particular area? Do you work with, go on, answer that first. I don't want to throw too many questions out.
The first area, yes.
Okay, what do you mean when you say the first area, in case one of our...
Exploration industry, oil and gas exploration means surveying and drilling and production at the field level.
So you're working with the people who are doing the surveying and production of it.
Drilling and production. There are three phases. First is field surveying, second is drilling, and third one is producing.
So you're working with the people who are doing the field work before.
Yep, indeed. Yes, I've been working for years, almost 20 years in the oil fields. So the last 10 years are in the office area or in the office atmosphere, but previously I was in the field.
And that can be very dangerous, I would think, to be in the field and checking out the oil. The oil. What kind of precautions do you need to take when you're doing this work?
Well, there is always a way to perform your job safely with the industrial practices, with the standards, with the learnings, with too many things are in place. The knowledge is there, so the job can be performed very, very safely. It's human thinking or human attitude, human behavior that makes the job unsafe. Otherwise, systems have been defined, the practices have been well defined, people get training, they get reminders, but when they make shortcuts, then something bad happens. So in safety, we say that 95% accidents happen due to human errors. Human beings are the major cause of the accidents. So these are avoidable. When human beings are responsible, then these are avoided. Only 5% accidents happen because of natural disaster or something else, which is beyond our human control. But 95% of the accidents are because of human beings.
So what do you do to help make sure that the human beings who are working in the field are safe at all times?
Well, there are ways. First is the management commitment. If the management from the top is committed in safety, they would introduce the system, they would allocate funds and resources for promoting safety. They will introduce the incentive programs for the workers. They will appreciate safe work. They will discipline those who are not following good practices. So the hiring and firing, performance appraisals, everywhere the safety is highlighted. So then it becomes a safety culture in the organization. So in the world, in advanced world, the safety performance of a company affects their market rate. The market share is affected because of good or bad performance. So any accident happen in big company, corporate, has an impact on their share value. So that's the corporate thinking, that how safety should be promoted. So changing minds of the people is a continuous effort that comes with training, that comes with motivation, that comes with supporting them, appreciating them. So it's a continuous process that makes the difference.
Okay, maybe I'm not being clear. Do you have a family?
Say again, ask again.
Do you have a family?
Family, you're talking about the family.
I'm asking you if you have a family.
Yes, I do have a family. Yes, my wife and I have three kids, two boys, one girl. Daughter is married. Two sons, they have completed their education, and now one in his business and the other one is doctor. He will start practicing.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do they feel about you working in the field in oil? Because that, it's not the safest of environments. What have you done to make sure that you are as safe as possible?
Well, first thing that I tried to convince them to come into my career in engineering profession and safety professional, but I could not convince them because they had their own way of thinking. So they did not come to my profession, but
That's
it was good mindset that they understand what safety is about. Whenever I say something,
I don't think I'm saying my question correctly.
see,
You are working in safety.
yeah.
What do you do yourself to keep yourself safe when you are in an oil field or working with oil? What is it that you do to keep yourself safe? And that way, right now you're talking words, but let's make it a little practical for those who are watching and they understand what you mean by safety. Instead of a vast concept, let's make it small so they understand. Am I being clear now?
Yeah, as you said, I have good knowledge about safety. I'm preaching safety. I'm telling people, so I have to set an example and lead by example. So whatever I'm doing is actually I become a role model for many. That I'm in my profession. So whoever is around me is actually learning from me. They practice safety. What I'm doing in my career.
Can you give me an example of something you do to keep yourself safe? Like if you were in a plane traveling right now and everyone's concerned about coronavirus, would you wear a mask? Would you wear special clothing when you are in the field with people who are working with oil? Or don't you actually go out and do that? Maybe you don't do anything directly with oil. I don't know, but that's what I'm asking you about.
It's mandatory that everybody who goes to the oil field has to wear the protective clothing, the shoes, the hard hat, helmet, glasses, everything has to be worn. So there is no second opinion that somebody cannot wear that. So that's a must. But when we go and we enter the area, there are many other things which we need to follow. For example, if you're working at a height, we can fall down. If we are working under some suspended load, we should not go under that. So there are many things which we come across. The risk is always there. So we know what to do.
Okay, give me an example of a risk and what you help people learn that you don't do. Give me a very clear example. of a risk and what you tell people to do so they can avoid that risk.
Well, my way of telling people or teaching people or convincing people is to give them real life examples.
And that's what I'm asking for from you.
Yeah. Real life example means kind of accidents that happened in my life where I was witness, where I was about very close, and I investigated the accidents which
Okay,
yeah.
stop there.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that. I want you to give me an example of an accident and what you learned from it so you could prevent it from happening again.
Okay. Well, one example which comes to my mind again and again, that I was swimming in a big swimming pool, and I heard a noise that somebody is in the bottom. He's laying down in the bottom, and we have to take him out. In our country, it's very difficult to take somebody out because we don't have rescue divers available. The first aid is not available, but finally we were able to take him out, and there was nobody to give him first aid. I was the only person who was knowing about the first aid. So I made it happen that he was almost dead. But with the CPR, with pushing his lungs, we could make him breathe and survive. Otherwise, if I would not be there, I'm 100% sure that he would be dead. So that's a good example that I tell that people should know about the first aid, and they should be helping people when they are in trouble. So that is one.
Okay, what I am saying to you, give me an example in the oil field where you have seen something happen and you did something, or you've realized, okay, this is this is a mistake. This is what we need to do in the future. A very clear example of your work.
Okay, one of the accident that happened was a field vehicle when the driver was driving on a mountain. It rolled over. There were three passengers inside. One was dead. One was seriously injured. One jumped out. We reached there and rescued people, and how the person was badly bleeding. We made the first aid and stopped bleeding. The dead person was shifted. So the causes were very strange. The driver was not knowing how to drive on a mountain. He never drove. Unfortunately, he was hired. So that was the cause of the accident. That driver was not competent for that, and he tried to take to on the top of the mountain, and the vehicle failed and rolled over, and unfortunately that accident happened. So that is an accident that I remind people that how the foolish mistakes can be very costly for the company.
Okay, now tell me something that you did that happened in the oil company directly, where you needed to come up with an answer of how to create a safe environment.
Well, I've been working with this Kuwait Petroleum Company for last 7 years. We have been involved in a lot of activities, including drilling, surveying, other activities. So, fortunately, we have very good advanced systems where we are practicing safety or preaching safety, keeping our workers safe, keeping our contractors safe. We have strong systems in place, the auditing, the inspections, the emergency drills we carry out. So there are many things which are happening, and which is being practiced in advanced companies. So that overall makes the company safe, the workers safe, and the operations smooth and carried out within budget and timely completion.
Okay. Are there any rules that you have helped? You're working in Canada now. You're working on safety and quality in Canada.
Yeah.
What is your specific job?
Well, we developed systems in Pakistan. We made the procedures, the HSE system, the whole, if we call HSE management system was developed in Pakistan, which was well taken by the Kuwait office. And they actually assigned me to go around the world. And Canada is the first office where I'm developing the HSE management system, the procedures, and
Okay, what do you mean? You're giving me acronyms. What is the HCA management system? What does that stand for?
management system means the procedures are written down, how to carry out the activities, for example. If you talk of auditing is a full system, how to carry out the audit, who will carry out the audit, how the report will be made, how it will be presented. There is another contractor management system, how the contractor will be hired, how his competence will be evaluated, how he will be, the contractor will be monitored and checked, that so that the contractor performs as per the company expectations. There is another system which is called management of change. If you carry out any kind of change in the plant or any equipment, that has to be gone through thorough study and approvals and risk assessments, because any change in any plant or any pipeline or any operation can cause very costly accidents and closure of the plant. So this management of change is a procedure which is actually written and practiced. Then the emergency response plan. The high risk operations have emergencies or even a crisis sometimes. So the crisis situation has to have the communication channel in place. People should know their responsibilities and roles, because something happens, the disaster happens, people get panicked. So they must be aware of their responsibilities, what needs to be done. The phone numbers are in place. People know who to talk to this, and there are contracts in place for the emergencies. So this kind of thing. There is another concept which is business continuity management. For example, we are working in one atmosphere. One day, all of a sudden, something bad happens, and we are unable to continue operation in this particular building. So we have to have alternate arrangements so that we can run our operation sitting from other place. It should not stop because the building is not usable, or there is some fire or disaster. So the business will not stop. So we have to have the alternate system in place, and so that we can very quickly set up our office in different building. Then even the office evacuation is a procedure. The training plan, the safety induction for the visitors. So these are few parts of the HSE management system. There are like 20 procedures which needs to be made and merged together. And there are international standards. For example, ISO 45001. It talks about occupational health and safety management system. ISO 14001, it talks about environment management system. So these are international standards which ask the companies to set up their own management system so that their working is standardized globally. So that
is your job to set up the systems, or is your job to go out and talk to people and say, this is what you should be doing?
I'm working on system at present. My job is to set up systems, and the field people, they will actually implement through the management, and they will talk to the people. Given me a chance, I can talk to the people, but my assignment is to develop systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that go with quality? Because you said you do both safety and quality.
Yes, indeed. The customer satisfaction, the documentation, the record keeping, traceability, document management system. This is also part of my job. One thing I'd like to add, the company has developed a strategy. They call it Strategy 2040. So in 2040, the company wants to be among the top oil companies. So that's the strategy. And safety is also very, very important. Health, safety, and environment and quality. That is the prime thing that they want to focus on it. And my assignment in Canada is one of the efforts to meet those requirements.
So, in other words, you develop the systems, but you don't necessarily train people in the systems.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that, do I have it correct now?
yes, you're right.
Okay, because that was a little confusing. How did you become so passionate about this?
Well, as I said, it was initially my job. But when I learned that if you make your job your passion, that becomes interesting. So I wanted to enjoy my job. So when I made my job my passion, I'm now enjoying. I work not only for money, but for my own satisfaction. So my internal satisfaction goes with my passion.
Okay, how did you make it your passion?
Well, I made this a passion of mine because I was it was not my choice. I was asked by my employer to come to this profession. But when I entered, I start enjoying. When I used to train people, and they used to tell me about their actions, which they learned and they practice in the real life, that was my motivation, that I'm learning people, I'm giving knowledge to people, they are learning from me and they are practicing in the real world. Believe me, some people told me that they learned from me that if there's a fire in the home at home, what they have to, how they have to respond. And one day a boy told me that I rescued my daughter from fire the way you told me. So that was my satisfaction, that I contributed to save one life. Few boys they were on the road and there was a road accident, bus accident. The first aid was not available, and those three boys actually helped many passengers, and they gave first aid. And then they told me that we learned from you and we practiced. So that was my satisfaction. So with those things, I made it my passion, that I have to teach people, and I have to develop awareness among the masses and common people.
Now it's beginning to make sense. I'm beginning to get what you're talking about. I didn't mean to make it difficult, but now you're getting into why it's so important.
You know,
But you don't
the
know
society
what.
platform is very important for this, and we are reaching to the lowest level people, the masses, through social media. So this is very important. And this interview, I believe, if somebody listens to it and they read my message, it will also help them understand what we intend, what's my passion, what we intend to do for the country.
And you know that you will have the link so you can put it on your Facebook page, because I don't know why, but I was not able to tag you.
Okay,
So
I can put it on my
I
Facebook.
will send you the link when we're done.
Right.
Are there any words of wisdom that you want to share with everyone before we get off the interview?
Well, the message is that everybody lives life for his own. People are selfish. Very few people think about humanity. Very few people think about others. So the message is that please think about others, because the humanity needs a lot of help. Poverty is also important for them. People need support. This safety is very important, because there's a lot of people are killed, or injured, disabled because of unsafe work. They don't know. Nobody tells them. The employers do not tell them. So our job is to save lives, to prevent injuries, to minimize their sufferings. The families will be supported if they are not hurt or they recover very quickly. So this way, I think we are adding value, and we are helping the humanity, the society. So this is the message, that people should also go join hand and do the same.
Now, have you done anything like with airlines or other types of businesses?
Uh, well, not specifically the airline, but in general, all we are going around and meeting people, and telling that our services are available and professional support is available where we can help. So airline also, we can. One of our members is airline safety engineer. So I will talk to, she's a lady, I will talk to her that if they need our support. Actually, the government department, the airline we are talking about is national airline. So normally the government departments have reservations talking to outside bodies or professional bodies. So they think that they are okay with their own system. So we have to go and meet them and convince them that if we can add value to their system.
Very nice. Any last words of wisdom for the world?
World needs good people, caring people, people who work for others, not for themselves. So we need such people who are very kind, who spare time, invest their resources in humanity. So we are looking for those people to join hands and work for humanity.
I like that. And with that, I am going to close this show. I want to thank you for coming and being a part of the conversation. Well, being the conversation, really. And I want to thank those who watched this. And as you said, it'll be on my timeline for sure, but please share it out on your page